Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to my fourth episode of You'll Be Getting What You Want with Crazy Carlos. And today, guys, I would like to take I would like to take an opportunity to welcome Edwin Baltierra. Hello. He's a local artist from the Coachella Valley. So Edwin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you grew up here in the Coachella Valley, so qué es lo que haces y todo. A ver, cuéntanos un poquito. English, es de los dos, el show.
Well, I am a musician, singer, songwriter. I born and raised in the Coachella Valley. I'm proud of that. I am a Coachella Valley enthusiast, as I like to call myself. And I make music. Started out in pop, and then kind of transferred over to the Latin regional Mexican genre, and that's where we're at right now. Tex-Mex.
Nice. And so far, you, like I said, you attended Coachella Valley High School, and you were a cheerleader experience of attending. Tell us a little bit about your Coachella Valley High School stuff, and about you being a cheerleader and all that stuff. What was your most fun year that you enjoyed being at Coachella Valley High School?
I would say the funnest year I probably had at CV was my senior year. Well, you know how it is. You know how the Valley is.
Yes.
It's very, as progressive as it seems now, it's still a little closed-minded,
Yeah.
Being that we come from very traditional and old-fashioned families, and, we have our Mexican culture. So it was very tough. I'd say all my pre through high school, lots of bullying, pretty obvious, but I feel like towards the end of my junior year, I kind of composed this ultra ego, this ultra persona, and Edance is what I used to call myself back then, came out, and I feel like I was just able to defend myself after that, and kind of just have that courage to stand up for myself and not let anything happen anymore. And so that's why I think my senior year was the best. I just became who I truly was.
I know, seeing you out there cheering, just like I said, I was a cheerleader as well. It was como hiciste, a lot of bullying, because it was hard. Because male cheerleaders do get bullied, and it's just the whole thing. You get what I mean? And especially in high school, it's like we do it now. Now the generation, it's funny because it looks like we painted a picture that anyone could be a cheerleader, anyone could do anything. So, you being a male cheerleader, what was your funnest year in cheer?
I think
because you did it for what, 2 years?
I did
or 1 year.
No, I did it. I started was it sophomore? No, I think I started sophomore year.
So 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Man, it's been so long ago.
Yeah, we're going back to that topic.
It was just 2 years ago, you guys. Yeah. No, I think the funnest year was going into my senior year. So that summer camp. So that was the first time I think that CV ever attended. Well, I'm not sure what your experience was like, but I think for my generation, that was the first time going to cheer camp. We went to Irvine, hosted by, what was that, United Spirit Association?
Yeah.
And I think that was the funnest experience I had. I made it to All-American, all that type of stuff, and so it was pretty cool.
It's fun, right? Being a cheerleader there. Did you continue doing that after high school, or you just kind of went off and did something different?
Went off. I coached for 1 season. Mountain Vista.
Okay.
Right there on 50th and. Is it not Madison?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it's not Coral. It's Mountain
Vista.
Mountain Vista, right?
Yeah, by the Polo Grounds.
Yeah,
where Coachella happens.
I should know this, but I totally forgot. It's been about
forever.
a decade ago. but yeah, no. After that, I just kind of went back to school. Well, continued in college, community college, and then just ventured out into other things.
Nice. So you were actually teaching, I believe, a dance team, bachata, or you were part of it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so kind of right after cheer, I was always striving, or I guess my heart was just craving something very artistic, which ultimately, now I know what it was. It was always music. I've always been around music and involved with music, but until I got to music, I was kind of exploring, if you will. And dance just came about. I've always wanted to become a professional dancer and do it competitively. And salsa and bachata knocked on the door, and that was my life for a good while. And I started out training, of course. I joined a few teams before, and I did a lot of training. And then an opportunity came at COD to start up a salsa club, which I couldn't even talk about it too much because it just brought so much like trauma into my
Okay.
life. But now, you know, I feel like I've matured a lot more and I'm able to look back at that era and just take what I learned from that, you know? So I
Yeah.
don't regret anything in my life, I'd like to say, but
Yeah.
I take everything with a grain of salt, if how the saying goes, but I feel like I learned a lot from it and it's made me who I am today. So that happened, I think, 2017, 16, oh, 2016, 17, around there. And then I opened up shortly after my own dance academy, and then yeah, that was my life for a good amount of years.
And how was that going for you teaching like bachata and doing all that stuff? I seen that you were doing classes like in the Palm Desert Park area. You had your own little dance team.
Yeah.
And how was that going for you so far?
It was really, really good, and it got so good that it like took over my life. I had no days off. I feel I had, well, you know, when you run your business, you
Yeah.
think you're gonna work you
Less.
work a lot more, you know. So that was the situation. I felt like I was burning both ends of the candle a lot of the times, and I completely closed my doors, or yeah, I closed down for a little bit when the pandemic hit, but I didn't realize how important I needed that break. How much I needed that break, you know?
Yeah.
And that break was really important to me. Like I said, I felt I was burning both ends of the candle, and I was making a lot of money. I really was, you know? I took over someone else's dance school. It's like the other competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Valley. It's not that big.
Yeah.
There's not that much of a demand for it. I can count the entire community with
Yeah.
one hand, it feels like. And so they moved on to like I think they just were retiring, but they
Yeah.
were the OGs of salsa and bachata. Well, so salsa, really, that
Yeah.
was their forte. And so I love them to death. Luis and Laurie, shout out to them. But when they realized that I was doing my own thing and I wasn't, what's the right word? I don't want to offend anybody, but I wasn't, well, I guess I wasn't sketchy. I wasn't like a mean girl in the business. I was very much all about collaboration and helping one another, because I feel like there's room for everyone. There's no, you know what I mean? I'm like, at the end of the day, if you're from the outside, you know, looking outside the bubble, you want to be comfortable, and I feel like it would be nice to see all these leaders, you know, working together. It's like, oh, they all have their own
Yes,
thing, but they all
correct.
support each other. Right? I think that's, you know, the best marketing in my own, you know, opinion. But there's been other instructors who've come into the Valley and just did some, you know, I just wouldn't practice business that way, you
Yeah.
know, and you kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to say here. But when I think Luis and Laura realized that I wasn't a threat in that sense,
Yeah.
they reached out, and you know, we would hang out every now and then, and we talked, and they ended up giving me not giving me, but just I took over their business because they were moving to Tennessee, and then that happened, and then I started my own dance festival, and that 2 years of that, and it was headed towards like the end of 2020, and I realized, and sadly, my love for dance was just
Done.
I mean, that sounds kind of exaggerated, but I was just tired and I wanted something else, and I knew in my heart I love dance and it will always be there, and it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. However, it just wasn't fulfilling my artistic needs, if you will. And so, yeah, I just had to,
Close that door.
yeah.
Cerrar esa puerta y abrir otra,
Yeah, there
¿no?
you go.
But en eso, like, the dancing wise, I know bachata's really hard to do on salsa, because bachata you could do basic, and then salsa you could do
Salsa.
basic, but then like when you want to get into details, it's like estás haciendo todo como bien diferente, bien, you know, out there. Was it hard for you to like learn it or teach it like when you first started doing it?
Honestly, it wasn't hard, and I don't mean that in like a presumido way. However, if you have that like love inside of you, like that crave, like I want to dance, and you know, you've always been a dancer yourself.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000% sure you would learn it like this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to take
It's just like by looking at it, we're just like, okay, let's see the
But-
steps. So we already got 'em.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. It's like a second nature, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but when you actually take those classes and you're training, it's like, oh, I didn't know that. You learn so much. And it doesn't matter who the instructor is. I definitely wouldn't judge a book by its cover. You always learn something from anyone that you're taking a class from. And so I learned that, but learning it wasn't hard. I think teaching it, what's hard there is everyone can be a great dancer. But when you put on when you take on the role of becoming a teacher, a professor, or an instructor, that's different. You have to learn how to become a good teacher and a patient one at that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of students who are okay with remaining, in the same level that they're always in. There's, especially out here, everyone just looked at it as like, oh, a hobby, something for fun, like nothing competitive, just, it's just, it gives the wife and I a date night, something, a purpose to come out or whatever. And so you have to be okay with that. When you're talking about a city like LA or even like the IE, there's a much bigger demand for that because there's just more of a variety in the sense of like, oh, somebody wants to be a competitive professional dancer. They want to perform, travel. Out here, it's more so like, oh, we just want to go out for the night, have a few drinks, and So that's what was difficult because in my mind, I was always like, oh, I want to start a team. I want to perform. What made me fall in love with it is the first Congress I ever went to, I saw these outfits and they were like amazing. So like, I think I joined cheer because I wanted to wear the cheer outfit, But when I saw these dancers and I saw their rhinestones and all their Swarovskis and these awesome wardrobes, and then I saw men wearing like these very flamboyant outfits, I was like, oh, and it's okay. And I was like, no one's judging them. Like no one is, and they're straight men. And you think, well, if they're, I found my niche, like my niche, like I this is home. So I think that's why I wanted to, pursue that whole dance career because I just wanted a safe haven on stage where I could wear a real cool outfit and, not be judged for it, I guess. And that's what I was like striving for the most. And out here, I didn't really find that. And when I did, it was just, well, you can only go so far. But I will say thank you to everybody who's been in my dance teams, who's been in my, my loyal clientele, because you guys have been just the best ever. So thank you for all your support.
Cambiando un poco de tema, the artist that you are today, the local artist from the Coachella Valley, so are you your own, producer, songwriter, how's that going for you right now?
So I'm definitely an independent artist, an independent label, Baltierra Records. So I met my producer, and I call him my mentor because he really does a lot of everything. Well, he does everything literally for me. And he's even my personal therapist at times. Johnny, shout out to Johnny. I met him through my good friend Tanya, which I think she's been here a few times. Tanya, she has her own band and she does like a few shows out here. That's how I met her. Met her dancing. She saw me dancing in the crowd, and then she pulled me out and she's like, oh, I want to learn how to dance. Let's trade. I was like, I want to learn how to sing and this and that. And she goes, I'll coach you and you coach me. So I was like, okay. We met at the dance studio, and then I told her like I wanted to pursue a professional, music career, and she's like, I'm gonna connect you with a producer. His name's Johnny, and I met him once at one of their gigs out here, a few years back, and that's how that started. And he's been really, like I said, my mentor and coaching me not just musically, but in the business side of music and how everything works. And I will say, just like with any other career, once you get into the business side of it, it can be very draining, very, you might feel hopeless at times, but if you love it, you're gonna remain, in the same situation. Well, not in the same situation. You're gonna just continue to, flourish in that. If that makes any sense, like. It's hard. Nothing in life is easy, but if you love it, you're just gonna stay there. I feel. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. So, like, do you write your own songs? Like, what makes you write the songs that you write? I heard some of your songs.
Thank you.
And there's like 2 songs that I really like, and I'm not gonna mention them yet. But so do you like when you write your songs? Los escribes when you're down, when you're like depressed, or because I heard like that's the best way to write music. Like when something pops in your head, you're gonna sit there and just be like, okay, let me write this.
Sometimes that does happen, but I feel like for every creative is different and unique in their own ways, know. But I feel like I can write at any given time. Like it can be something about a sad story, love, romance, happy, just whatever. But I really just all I have to do to tap into that energy is just find my zen and think of an idea, think of a purpose, and I feel like with my crazy life, I've been through quite a few experiences that I can just tap in there at any time. And yeah, no, the best time for me to write is not necessarily when I'm down, but the best time for me to write is definitely like in the witching hours of the night. Like when there are less frequencies around, I feel like I'm most capable of achieving anything, you know? So 2, 3 a.m.,
You're writing music.
yeah, like anytime. Let's start like at midnight or 10 p.m. all the way to like 4 or 5. My peak hours.
There you go. That's always a good thing, you know, to write music or to write something that you like, you know, and then turn it into a song. You know, like there's a couple of songs that you have, but before we get into that, I've seen that you have 2 music videos, and they were probably recorded, if I'm correct, in Guadalajara, right? Tell us, how does it feel to have that opportunity to record out there? Like, tell us like the backstage of it to the front stage of it, to like feeling like a lot of like, you know, being your own producer, probably your own director on directing these 2 music videos that you have.
Wow, that's a very loaded question. Let me tell you, I feel like I hit the lottery with this director from Guadalajara. His name is Manuel Galloso. I found him through Ana Barbara, one of my idols. She posted a behind the scenes video on YouTube of one of her videos. I've noticed that like during 2020 she started posting really nice music videos. I'm like, oh, okay, she's stepping it up, you know, because it'd been a while that she had released something. Yeah. So then I was like, man, and I was already like, you know, writing a lot of music, and I said I would love to do something like that. And so when I saw his logo, I just, you know, my brain's always like in business or networking. I'm like, shoot your shot, like, you know, shoot your shot. So I looked him up shortly. I found him, and I didn't even hesitate. In that same moment, my producer and I called him. I was out in LA at the studio, and he was so welcoming, which was a breath of fresh air, because most people that I've like contacted in the industry to either collaborate, not necessarily on music, but like engineers or like other music video directors, not with such an extensive resume like himself, like just, you know, different people in the industry, you know, that energy wasn't as welcoming as his. It was very much like, you're not a big star yet, so I don't want anything to do with you, you know? So a lot of, you know, closed doors at that. But with him, it was like, no, it's like business is business. This is an opportunity for both of us, for the both of us, and you know, this is what I charge, and it was just, here you go, and if you want it, let's do it, and come out here. And so I did that, and so I agreed to film my first video. Getting to Guadalajara was fun. It was my first time ever there. I brought my mom with me because, of course, she was the protagonista of the video, and I will say though, from the first video to the second, and in March I filmed my third one, which comes out next month. Every single video has progressed, you know, gradually, and it's been like a bigger investment every single time. And I will say, they treated me, but like I'm sure if you were to go out there, it's the same treatment, but like they treated me like if I was already like this big star, like it like royal treatment. Like they are so professional, and I don't mean like kissing, but like no kissing up. Like it's just so professional, and the level of respect that they have for you is beyond. It is, I'm not gonna lie, it is an investment. And I think when I started the first video, I said I can't go, you know, any less than that's the standard that I set, and I can't, you know, and you know, I like to think that my brand has a high standard in the sense of like the quality that I, you know, provide. And so, yeah, no, it was just really nice. When I first got there, I was cool. I was not nervous. I was nonchalant, really. I was just, wow, I can't believe I'm here. You know, like on the way there, I was so negative. I was like, what if the plane crashes or something? I don't know. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. You know, I was like, oh my God, this is it. But no. So I get there. Everything's cool. I didn't feel like worried at all until they got there. We got there like maybe an hour early because we anticipated there'd be a lot of traffic on the way
Yeah.
there, given that it's just big city.
Yeah.
And so, no, we got there an hour early before they did, and we were just waiting outside in the front. I was not scared, but I felt just like this warm hug over me the entire time I was driving there, because as we're driving there, it's like kind of on the way towards Tequila.
Tequilas, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like this little
Like
town,
hacienda, like, yeah.
yeah, like in like the suburbs, you know,
Yeah.
of Guadalajara. And so it took us like 30 minutes to get there. It would have taken us like close to an hour and a half to get
Yeah.
there with traffic. But anyways, on the way there, it just seemed like I was visiting my grandparents, because
Okay.
everything just looked so, the landscape was just so familiar.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. So we're just chilling. By the time we get there, I'm like, oh, I'm in my like grandparents' like pueblito, you know. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'm home. I felt like I'm
Yeah.
home. So I was not worried. I wasn't scared or frightened, anything of that nature. And we're just waiting there, and you, like, you're just like, what? Like, there's absolutely, like, we're in the middle of nowhere, you know, and all these, and this small little pueblito, and it's like dirt roads and whatnot, and we're just like mind blown, you know, 'cause it's like mind blowing, because when they finally opened the gates,
Yeah.
you would never imagine that, like, it's just like polar opposite, you know, like entering the gates, you just open the doors and you're like, oh my god, it was like this grand, like, hacienda, like palace, like everything was green. It was like I would have never imagined in a million years that this was here, like in this very location.
Yeah.
You know, just because they had real high brick walls, you know, just covering the whole place. So by the time we're in there, I'm like, oh wow, this is beautiful. And I was like, oh, I don't know where I'm at, but it was stunning.
And that's
So-
where you recorded your first video then.
yeah,
Nice.
and so I was still not nervous. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. But I got nervous when they get there and they show up with this massive truck. Like, you know, and you hear,
Yeah.
it's like, you hear the motor and like the wheels and it's backing up and you hear beep, beep. And so
Yeah.
all of that, you're like, that's for me?
Yeah.
Like, I thought, I don't know. You know, it was my first video, so I didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. I saw the behind the scenes footage from
Yeah.
Ana Barbara's videos, but I was like, I don't know. It just hits you differently. And
Yeah.
that's when I got nervous, because they were like 10 people plus on his of his team just showing up, and then everybody just started like pulling things down from like the truck, and it looked like it was for a movie set. You know, all that equipment, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what did I get myself into? You know, and I
Yeah.
had paid the day prior, so I was like, how am I gonna pay for it? But I, you know, you forget all these things, and
Yeah.
oh my god, let me tell you that I didn't even think I was gonna like lograr, you
Yeah.
know, to record that. I didn't think I was gonna be able to do that one, because it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was an investment, a
Yeah.
big investment, and I don't mind, because that's my brand.
Yeah.
And the fact that I did that, I was like, we cried so much on the way there, during, after, at the hotel, you know. It was just a full circle. And then the biggest honor is that Ana Barbara shot her music video there too. So
that's
I
where you
didn't
got to
copy
do
her,
it.
but you know, it was just like, what an honor. I found her through, you know, the video, and the behind the scenes video, that was the actual place where they were at. So he was like, I think your song, like, this is where you have to film it, you know?
Yeah.
And we did our own take on it, you know, we didn't copy her, but it was just a full circle moment for me, and it was really nice.
Nice. So do you already taken out a third video, and that would be coming out when?
June 8th.
Wow. Are you excited for that one?
Very excited. This one was a lot different. I feel like the first two were more on the safe side, because you know how like the marketing goes. Like,
Yeah.
even though I'm a gay, like proud gay male and proud gay artist, but in this genre, that's very like, you know, hetero driven, very like machista and everything
Yeah.
like that. It's just like, okay, we'll kind of keep it safe, but then not keep it so safe, because I'm like, the first video, I'm like, okay, that's for Mother's Day, super
Yeah.
safe, everything I wore, even the makeup was safe.
Yeah.
Okay, second video, I feel like I'm gonna like just try to not open the door lightly, but try to like kick it open. And so I said, I wrote a love song, but like a fun, playful love song, and I said, well, the director said, how important is it for you to include your community? I was like, very important. I feel like it would be very fake of me and so just unauthentic if I were to sing to a woman about love when I don't feel that way at all.
Exactly.
You know, and that's something that, and I think it would be more embarrassing where I'm like, clear, like I'm like, come on, my nails are all painted and everything. I'm like, my manicure's better than hers, and I'm gonna be singing to her about like it. Just I think that would be more like no, and I think I had a real big problem with some family members with that, but I honestly I don't care. Like I'm gonna do me to the day that I die.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like life's too short to be like, like, you know, they're not supporting me, so I'm gonna do no. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's that. So second video, I kind of went a little crazy with having the male model there, but I don't consider it crazy because it's normal for me.
Yeah.
But this third video, it was really fun. I like wore a lot of makeup. I wore some real cool outfits. I can't say too much, but
we just have to wait. We just have to wait till June to watch it.
I'm really proud of this music video, and we filmed it at this nightclub. And I'll be honest with you, given like the past two locations of where the director, because he's really picky, and I love that because I feel like I'm very picky myself, but I've never felt like, oh, I don't have to worry about details because I know he's got it. Yeah. He's got it. So it's really, really just like
breathtaking. Like let me sit back and relax while he does the same thing. Yeah.
And so when he showed me a few other locations for this, when you proposed these other locations for this third video, he was like, what about this one? I feel like with the vibe that you want and like the theme, okay, a little sneak peek. So like think of like, what's that song? Lady Marmalade.
Lady Marmalade, yeah, Burlesque.
So that's like the theme, right? So he goes, this place, even though like, it's like, it doesn't match like, you know, all these other locations and how prestige they are. I promise you, I can create magic, and I trust him with like all my heart. I feel so. I was like, okay, we'll go there, and I was just like, I mean, that video, it's not in my hands yet. He's gonna turn it in sometime this week, for like la revisión is what he calls it, so I can approve it if I like it, if I have to change anything, and then we'll see. But from what the clips that I have. Yeah.
Wow. En tu canción Madrecita Querida, I believe that's the name of it is.
Hermosa.
Hermosa. There you go. You took it out for Mother's Day. Tell us a little bit about that, like about the story and the history with that song, because I know Mother's Day is coming up, guys. Es este viernes, I believe. Pero this song, I listened to it, and the lyrics is really nice.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I wrote that song for my mom. If I released it last year, so I wrote it 3 years ago. I started writing it, and then I took it to my producer, and he was like, this is a mess, let's rewrite it and do it again. So Johnny, again, fixing my life, and I released it last year, but we wrote it. So see, I started writing a piece of it for my mom for her birthday 3 years ago in my room with my nephew, and I said, oh, this is really nice, like it was awesome because it was her birthday and we wanted to sing something nice for her. All my family members are musicians, and when I was looking up songs to that people normally dedicate to their moms, I'm like, oh, this is depressing. Like, they're beautiful and iconic songs like Amor Eterno. What's that other one? Dos coronas a mi madre.
Okay.
But it's like Al Panteón. I'm like, girl, come on, no. Or like all these beautiful songs, but they all talk about sadly, unfortunately, like when your mom's no longer with you. I'm like, where are the songs now? Where it's like, my mom's here, present, like healthy and with me, and I just want to, share my love for her. And I didn't find anything. Well, I'm sure there are songs out there, but I just, I was, no, I'm going to write my own little thing. And so I did that, and then I sang a piece of it in the living room after Happy Birthday, the traditional Manitas, and everybody was like, oh, that's really good. Like, that's really nice. And it was like, I think during lockdown still, so during
COVID stuff.
Yeah. So that's how that came about. And when the end result, a few years later came, and I've had that song like ready, before, because I was focusing on that English album first, but I always had it there. But I knew that I needed something really special for that song, so I wanted to make music, like to produce music videos, but not for the English. Something was telling me, no, Madrecita Hermosa is your song. You have to do something for that. And it just worked out. And so that was the process. I hired a publicist to do that whole like promotional thing. I will say that the whole publicist route, not for me. I will say that. I maybe, she did a great job. She got me connected, but I just feel like in today's modern world, it's too old school, and I need to figure out other ways to market. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have like the best experience, but I feel like I still got a good learning experience from it, And so that's how that happened.
Wow. So what made you become the person you are today with all this stuff that you have going on in your life?
My mom, always being, my number one supporter. That's very easy to answer. And all my life experiences, I feel like everything that I've gone through, and I hate it, but like, we are our own worst critics. And
yes,
it sucks, but we always compare ourselves to others. And I feel like I've been working on that so much now, where I'm like, no, like, you are who you are. It is what it is. Like you were brought here for a specific reason, and you are who you are. Like, and love yourself the way you are. And I'm learning that now, and I'm still, like, I haven't mastered it yet. I'm still working towards that mastery, but I feel like I've come a long way, and I feel that I'm more aware of it now, and I feel like that, I think, is what is making me who I am today, and is making me fearless. Like, I do not care what people's opinion is about me, and just free, authentic.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I said, it's hard in this new generation to, like, be out there, because everyone just, like, starts hating, or you get jealousy because they're doing something that they can't do.
Yeah, and for Mother's Day, I didn't get a lot of hate. I got a lot of, I was expecting a lot of love because it's a Mother's Day song. But for Acariciame, I got a lot of hate, but it didn't break me, because I'm like, well, you can only talk about the obvious, which I made it very easy for them. Like, yeah, I'm like singing about love to a man, like, proudly, and but you can't talk negative about my music, my voice. I'm very I may be insecure about everything in my life, but my voice, my music, 1000% confident and secure about that. And so, I got a lot of negative, comments in, haters, like, oh, this is gay, oh, this is that, or two guys, oh, this is trap, but not one comment, and I didn't really, like, read them, but it was all just skimming through. But I'm like, you can't talk about the quality or the music, or like, you'll be singing it, like, after a few times of you hitting on my stuff, like, I know you're gonna be singing it, so it's like, no, because it's good.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you're always gonna have, like, hater supporters, or people that are gonna support it and love it, and you're always gonna have, like, those haters that are gonna be like, that are gonna try to bring you down, but at the same time, it's like,
because they can't do it.
Vas a verle, like, it's like, tú lo estás haciendo because it's like, lo quieres hacer for everyone could see that, not just a person could do it, It's like, an artist does it because he's showing what he really is and what he really wants to do. Because there's not a lot of, like I said, a lot of gay artists that are able to do that, that are able to pull that off. And so you see that, a local artist from the Coachella Valley was able to do that. That's a little different.
I appreciate that very much. And a few years back, though, I would want to say that. I do want to say that. A few years back, I wouldn't have been as daring as I am now, especially with something like that. And I just, after that second video came out, and I was like, okay, I still feel like it's safe, because I could have gone worse. I could have, like, just been vulgar, about it, and done something, like, just completely, like, out there. But I feel like my stuff still had a lot of class, still had a lot of safe, like, it was very safe in the sense of, like, no, it was just very, like, romantic, classy, very just, it's just, had it been a guy and a woman, it would have been like, oh, nothing wrong with the video, I feel. But because it was just two guys, I feel like that was where, it became taboo. But honestly, I still feel like that's safe. This third video, though, can't wait to show you, because I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of all of them, but this one, I'm like,
you're excited for this
one. Yeah, really excited. And I just hope that people like it. If you do, if you don't, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm not for everyone, but I'm here for those who, want to appreciate it. So.
Yeah. So who is one person, if you could name one person that you would love to collab with and do, like, a music video or something in your life, who would it be?
Okay.
And why?
There's two.
There's only one.
Okay, well, there's only one. Okay, well, I know about it. I know about
And
it.
why is that?
I don't know. I just feel like she's been one of my idols since I was little, and I feel like I resonate with her music so much. I have just three, I would say, vocal trinity like idols that I have, but if I have to pick one that resonates the most with my genre, with where I am now in the music industry, I know about 1,000%. I've met her twice.
Okay.
I'm gonna meet her again in a few months, and I don't know, like, I don't want to like jinx it or like give too much, but I mean, knocking doors is not hard to do,
And it's the doors are opening for everyone, and it's like, take that chance and don't let that door close, because it's like you already lost something,
Yeah. So I mean, the worst that can happen is a no, but then, all right, well, no now, but it may not be a no later. So it's just constant evolvement, and opportunities come and go. So yeah.
So we're gonna change a little bit of a topic today. And this is something that I always like to do with the people that I bring into the show. So our topic today is going to be about rejection. Have you ever been rejected, like either in a relationship, whether it's like a producer or anything? Like, how do you feel to be rejected? I know, like, in our community, there's a lot of rejection because this valley is too small. But we're talking about,
Yeah, I mean, even if just not just the valley, but I mean, I feel like, and it's something that we don't talk about a lot, but the gay community, and I'm not talking about like the whole LG or all that stuff. All I know is my gay community, because that's what I am, right? But and I say this like plural, like, we are very vain. We are very all about like vanity. It's like looks and this and this and this and this and that. So rejection is like, there's no way that any of us don't get rejected. I think it's a very, unfortunately, like, natural thing, but you're not for everyone. But the way it makes me feel, of course, it's like the most humbling thing that can happen to you, and also a little bit traumatizing depending on what it is, but you just you have to put that in your mind. You're not for everyone. Your right match will come, and it is what it is. I mean, but if you're so fixated on, oh, I'm rejected, I feel like that's also like living, or like just keeping yourself down. I'm like, okay, well, it's all right, next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it has hurt me significantly is trying to get, right now that I'm so, I guess I can say, fixated on trying to get gigs and trying to like just get out there and perform and connect with, and establish a fan base that way, grassroots as we call it, I think is when I'm submitting, an EPK or any sort of like, entertainment application, and that rejection is what hurts me, because I'm striving so hard, right? I'm like just struggling to get my name out there and just, get that first good gig, and I have a band now, so that's the rejection that hurts me the most right now. The whole like love and stuff, I'm like, whatever. I'm not looking for it right now, so I could care less for all that.
There you go.
So, but rejection in the music industry is what hurts me.
Well, one day that door will open, and the opportunity is going to come in and be like, here you go. It's all for you.
There you go.
So we're going to close off the episode today. Normally, everyone that comes into the show, les toca preguntarme una pregunta, y puede ser lo que sea, eh? So whatever you want to ask me, I'm more than happy, because ya te pregunté muchas preguntas like probably you weren't expecting. So now it's your turn. So now it's your turn.
The hot seat right now. Jeez. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Okay, that's a common question. I got it a lot. But in 5 years, como digo, growing out this podcast, bringing in different people, and, hopefully bringing in someone I spoke to you earlier that might come in.
I'm going to manifest that for you.
Pero yeah, like I said, just growing out, and then also growing out my business. Like, I have my own like little business with Crazy Carlos events, and I give back to community, these high school kids. We were once there in their shoes where we needed the money. So seeing that grow, it's a big old plus for me. Okay. That's a big thing. But like I said, growing out the podcast is something where I see myself, getting better and bigger for that, just because it's something that everyone wants to hear. We want to be able to bring in people that no one's ever heard about, and give them the opportunity to talk about the history of them.
That's a really good response. We can ask you one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Love that. I've known you for quite a few years already through your sister.
Yes.
So we've known each other for a long time. But I just thought about it right now because I don't know. This question's always been in my mind. Not for you, but like for me specifically. But
Yeah.
what would you now, the Carlos that you are today, what would
Okay.
the Carlos from today tell the Carlos from back then? The
Oh
younger
my.
Carlos. What would you tell your younger self? If you could go back in time,
Uh-huh.
what would your advice be to the younger version of yourself?
I don't know, the younger version of me was different. And now, like, I think I would go back to the younger version and, you know, fix a lot of things that happened in the past. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the Carlos that I am now is way different to who I was back. Because I hate it. There was a lot of jealousy. There was a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
and you know that. You get what I mean? Pero it's, if I were to go back to the younger, like if the younger Carlos was in front of me, it's like, hey, I would be like, do a lot better, you know, like just get your stuff together because the Carlos that I was back then, he was really crazy. Salíamos y hacíamos muchas cosas, pero the Carlos that I am today, it's just someone different. Like I said, I think I kind of grew that seed from who I was back in the day to who I am now, because I was, like I said, it was a lot. Like I was on everyone, and you probably noticed that when I taught my sister's quinceañera, you were in it. I was like really strict on it, and not only that, it's just like the party mood, the hate. You know, I hated people, and I learned not to hate anyone now because the more you hate, the more they're gonna hate you. That's what I learned.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. So we're gonna close off this podcast. My number one sponsor today is MT Radio, guys. You haven't downloaded the app, go download the app on the App Store. You could also listen to them on their Facebook page, on their Instagram. They also have a TikTok. You know, so go ahead and follow and like this post. Edwin, you want to give us your social media as well we can get those followers?
You can follow me on Instagram, Edwin_Baltierra, Facebook, Edwin Baltierra, YouTube. Watch my music videos and stay tuned for that third one on June 8th. Edwin Baltierra, everything. Edwin Baltierra.
Also, guys, you can go and follow me on my Instagram, CrazyCarlos05. Also, go ahead and listen to this on Spotify if you missed today's show. But thank you once again, MT Radio, for being a grand sponsor. Thank you, guys. See you.